Hello, hello, hi, everybody, and welcome to this live event on adapting ELT resources. So I'm here today with Omar. Hello, Omar.
Hi, Joe. It's good to see you.
Great to see you too. And I think that just while people are still joining, people are still coming into the webinar, if I could just ask everyone to say hi in the chat. So open up the chat, say hi, tell us where you're joining us from today. If you're in Zoom, you could please use the chat for any comments that you have. If Omar asks questions, you can answer them in there. But if you have questions to ask Omar, then you can put them in the Q&A, please. And so we're about to start our second session of today, which is strategies for diverse classrooms with Omar. Okay, so I can see lots and lots of people from different countries. Um, Malaysia, Pakistan, Mexico, Libya, Korea. We just wouldn't have time to name all the countries. You're in Morocco, Omar?
Yeah, I'm from Morocco, exactly, from Tiznit next to Agadir. And I'm very happy to be
Okay.
here today. Yeah, okay.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to you in just one moment. But before I do that, I'd like to tell our audience just a little bit more about you. So, Omar Habbaz has 20 years of experience teaching English in high schools and foreign language programs in Morocco. He now works as a teacher educator and coaches teachers in face-to-face and online settings. So his work focuses on school and leadership reform, and addressing a range of teaching and learning challenges, particularly in low-resourced educational environments. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to you now, Omar. We'll be back for a short Q&A session at the end. And
Uh,
in the meantime, so enjoy the webinar. Over
Thank
to
you very
you.
much, Joe. It is a great pleasure to be here and to share experiences with everyone and to talk about diversity in classrooms. Okay, yeah, it's a pleasure. I'm currently working as an ELT supervisor or what they call inspector here in Morocco. And I'm supporting teachers with their lessons and giving them feedback. Thank you very much. So, why this issue here, this challenge? Because it's something universal. It's common in most classrooms, and most teachers are facing this diversity. That means that we have simply because we have different learners, and what works for one learner is not necessarily working for another. So what we need is some strategies that can help us be responsive to have a more inclusive learning environment. We can start. I can just share my um, presentation. And as you see, the title is Strategies for Diverse Classrooms. We can just jump in and start the first slide. And okay, our plan is this presentation is organized around four or three key questions. First, we are going to question what the classroom, what a diverse classroom is, or what makes it diverse. And then we're going to see, figure out some challenges that teachers face in order to deal with this diversity. And then what is important in this is the last one that is about some practical and simple strategies that you can take back to your classrooms in order to accommodate these differences and make a more inclusive environment. Now, the first question is, think of two students who sometimes get left or who are struggling in your classroom, and then just write their initials. That means just the first letters in their names, please. Don't write the full names, just respecting their privacy. But it's good that you write just their initials. Why we need this? Oh, already there. Yes, HU, it's Rob. Okay. We need this because we want you, but by throughout this webinar, to have them in the back of your mind. And whenever we talk about struggling students, you think about them and how they react and how they respond and their challenges. Oh, very nice. Already in. All right. Thank you very much for your responses. Very nice. Now, the next question is, why are they struggling? Why are they left behind? Why can't they catch up with the rest of the class? That's the question. Can you find a reason? Example, shy or language gap or shy? Yes, okay. Anxiety, less confidence. I can see so many things are coming up here. Depressed, send means specific. They need specific treatment. Um, yeah, language gaps is something that is omnipresent here. All right, not engaged, bored, lack of knowledge. So there is an issue here. Let's just go on and say, have you tried as a teacher to support them, to provide some support? That's the next question. Of course, yes. Oh, yes. Aha. You guys, you are already providing support to your students. And what you are going to have today is just going to add more to you. That means it's just going to enrich your experience with this support. So let's go and see what kind of things that we can provide to these types of students. Let me first know what's going on in our group here. How challenging is supporting struggling students is in your classroom? Is that not challenging at all? One, or extremely challenging? Interesting. So I can see that what stands out here in this chat, at least on Zoom, is that for most of us, at least, it is moderately challenging. That means the challenge is there. Thank you very much for your responses. Now let's a little bit go back and see what makes a classroom diverse. You have mentioned so many things, so many features, so many factors that can make a classroom diverse. And language gaps is the most salient, the most significant. Learning pace, confidence and participation, learner dependence, independence. Educational backgrounds means parents are educated or not, and they can help with homework. Exposure to language in some countries. English is only taught in the classroom, and whenever students get out, that means there is not much of that exposure. And maybe in Morocco, this is what happens, apart now from social media and TV, maybe. Okay, now, in order to have a common understanding of what a diverse classroom is, let's try out let's try out this definition and say just not a definition, not just what comes to your mind. What is a diverse classroom in your context, in your perspective? What does it mean? A diverse classroom is what? An everyday challenge. Why? Somebody says, unique. A mixture of multiple intelligences. Ah, yes, okay. Different levels of different learning. Yeah. Paces. Can see, yeah. It's challenging, they say. All right, yeah. Yeah, we know it's challenging. It's not easy, yeah. Thank you very much. So I would say is one with different students that need different types of support in order to make them successful. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Now, learner differences are very normal. That means please don't be scared out because this is very normal. I cannot imagine that means a classroom with unique and consistent students having the same backgrounds, the same level. So that's the reality of most classrooms. Even if you prepare a great lesson and you say that I spent much time thinking about and designing this lesson, but still some students will always need more support. Some are more confident, they need more challenge. And some will always finish fast the task that you give, and some will be slow. So that's a reality we have to admit. Now, with this little introduction, let's move on and see what challenges the teachers face most often in diverse classroom. We're going a little bit delve on some educational research, and they have, because research has been, dealing with this issue for years, and have just singled out four concepts. One is effective factors, A, B, scaffolding, we are familiar with this, and I+1 is too short, and one size does not fit all. Now, if you look at this here, each time I'm going to go back and give a, or just give a, that is an idea, get an idea from a resource, like here, Dornier, 2001, says learners' motivation, anxiety, and willingness to participate influence how effectively they engage and learn in the classroom. So please, which concept is that? A, B, C, or D? A, D, A. All right. All right. So most of you think about a effective factor. Simply effective factors means that are one factor or one thing that can make a classroom diverse. And affective factors means psychological, emotional factors like motivation, anxiety. Can you think of another factor that you have in mind? Can you think of another affective factor to share with us here on the chat? Like anxiety and willingness to participate, motivation. It's psychological, emotional, anxiety, stress, excitement, confidence, trauma. Wow, why not? Yeah. Readiness. Yeah. Tiredness. That can affect, that can make a difference in classroom. Depression, afraid of mistakes, afraid to be corrected. Oh, yes. So you see so many psychological factors. Thank you very much for your responses. Now, let's move on to the next one. So the first one is affective factors. It's done. Now, learners differ in pace, confidence, and prior knowledge. What do you think is this? It's about Carol Tomlinson, 2014. Aha. It's one size does not fit all. By the way, Carol Tomlinson is an authority in differentiated instruction, and she has many books on this, and it's worth reading. One size does not fit all. In our context as teachers means one lesson or one task does not fit all the students. That means we need to see what we can do. And I think the last webinar with Leo was about connecting, adapting, and empowering, and it was very, very constructive. Now, next one is language acquisition is optimized when input is slightly beyond the learner's current level. Correction, 1982. Yeah, before some of us were born. Yeah. So what do you think? It's C. It's I+1. How short is this? What does I stand for? What does it mean? It's about here input hypothesis, if I remember. I stands for what? Input, yes. Okay. Thank you. Uh-huh. Very nice. So I means the input or the current, the actual level of the student. When a student gets in our classrooms, they have a kind of level. Now that's I. Now the lesson should have +1, some more challenge, added value for that lesson so that it can be interesting for them. If it is just the lesson is about I, the student is going to feel bored and they are going to shut off. But if the lesson is again too challenging, I+2, the student is going to be very challenged and they are going to give up. So that means here the right input. That means adapting the input. Thank you very much. Now, all these are going to help us. These concepts and ideas are going to help us with what's coming next so that we can have a common ground. Now, teachers provide support to help learners complete tasks they cannot yet do independently. Of course, it's scaffolding because that's the one left. Yeah, Vygotsky is very renowned in the field of educational psychology. And scaffolding, if I ask you for a synonym of scaffolding, what would you write? All right, yes, thank you. Support. Yeah, I can see. Yeah. Support. Yeah, just here. Students need support. Now we are talking about I+1. If we want our students to move from I to I+1 safely, it means with the new knowledge, new skills, or attitudes in classroom, then they need somebody to help them cross that bridge. The teacher is there to provide that support, but in a scaffolding way, not in a spoon-feeding way. Thank you very much. Good. So these backgrounds can just tell us that affective factors, emotions affect learning, emotionally speaking. Scaffolding means that students need support of the teacher, and that's why they are there. And the right level challenge is not too challenging, not boring again. It's the same stuff because you will not be motivated. And one size does not fit all. It means one lesson, one task, one activity. As teachers, we bear in mind that it does not going to be suitable for all my learners, but I need to do something for that. That's what we are going to discover. So before that, what should we adjust? Is it the learner or the task? Because now here, the learners are different, right? Are different. That's the reality. So it's the task. So we have no choice. We don't need to blame learners. They are who they are. They are not to be blamed, but we need to adapt the task. Now the question is, how can I adapt this task? Now it's very simple. We are going to see that these are some ideas. It does not mean these are magical sticks that you can use or strategies you can use the next day and then it's perfect. But it's one way of a perspective, one way of seeing things from a different perspective. I hope that you will like it. Now, because of time, today we'll just focus on three strategies of these challenges. We're not going to talk about cultural differences and yeah, but we're just going to talk about language gaps because this is the most significant and the most determining and varied learning pace, people who finish early and those who don't or who are very slow. And you are going to see people who are confident to participate and raise their hands and talk, and those who need more support from the teacher. So very nice. Let's jump in and see. Language gaps. Now let's start with the first one, means language proficiency. This student or these students are good. They already have enough vocabulary and grammar, but these ones are lacking the basic vocabulary they will need to approach or to do the task. Let's first start with this. Joe, are you still with me here? All right.
Yes.
All right,
Yes, I
so we can
am.
just this with you here. It's a very short exchange that we can have in very common classes. Like if you ask your students to have some speaking about what do you like doing after school? And then the other one is going to say, I like, what about you? So can you just turn on your camera, Joe? And now let me ask you, you are
Okay.
student B. It's good to be a student, yeah. Okay, so
Okay.
what do you like doing after school, Joe?
I like coming home and relaxing with a hot drink.
You can ask me, what about you?
Oh, what about you? What do you like doing after school?
Well, I like helping my dad. Thank you. Thank you very much. So as you see here, this is a perfect world where I speak language and Joe also speaks good language. But in the classroom, unfortunately, that's not the reality. That's not what happens. And now, if you look at it this way, let me go back to my screen. Yeah. If you look at it this way, what we need to do is modeling. Now, what I'm doing is I'm modeling, for example, with Joe, and there are three types of modeling. A teacher can model with themselves. They can just stand up there in front of the class and can be here on the right side and can say, what do you like doing after school? And move on to the left side and answer and say, well, I like playing soccer. What about you? And move again. So I'm modeling with myself, or I can model with a strong student. I can ask one of my students and say, hey, I'm A and you are B. And you can start this way. Or I can have two more confident students modeling, both of them, and showing students what they are expected to do. But however, you may finish modeling and your students know what they are supposed to do, but still, some may not be able to do it. Why? Look at the screen, please. Because a category can expand it and finish it quickly. It's like a piece of cake for them. But some can just meet your expectation. They are in the middle. But others cannot. They need your support. They often stop, so they switch to L1. Now, my question here for you is, which student need more support, A, B, or C? Do you think? Aha, yeah. So it looks like C, yeah, B, yeah, somewhat B, yeah, but B actually they can meet your expectation. They can do the task, can do the minimum that you require. Thank you very much. Now, let's move to question number 2. Which student may lose interest? This is very easy. All right, I'm not going to do this. Yeah. Okay, yeah. A, yeah, all right. They will lose interest because that's not challenging enough for them. So here, yeah. You see a disparity in abilities. As a teacher, what can you do? Yeah, in this situation. Yeah. Differentiated activities. That means I need to prepare 3 activities. That's too demanding. That's a workload. Put them together. Yeah, why not? Flexible grouping, differentiation. Yes, okay. Very nice. Give options. Yeah, to make it more flexible. Find a balance for student A and student C. I will fall in teaching to the middle, which is not that good because I will just, again, I will target the student B and then I will leave out student A and C. But that's yeah, thank you for your suggestion. Yeah, that may work in some contexts. Yeah, thank you very much. Very nice. I don't mean that they have a magical answer, as they say, but this is a suggestion. Look at the screen, please, again. Support and challenge. Look at this. What if we provide this? What if we add this to the same activity? What if we make this, we build it in every activity? What do you like doing after school? I'm a very slow learner, and at least they can pick up one from the support list. And I say, I like watching movies, or I like watching soccer, whatever about you, but I'm not left out. At least they have something to say. And the one who has challenged, let's expand it to them. That means the support they have access, we give them access. But these ones, we extend it. And they can add many activities they can do after school. I can give a reason. I can talk more about when I do it, where I do it, with who I do it. So you see here, the sky is the limit. I'm not constraining you. It depends on your linguistic knowledge, but yeah, they can construct longer sentences. Somebody's writing here, teacher. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So now the question is, what kind of supports and challenges can we provide every time? Look at this list here. Some are for support. Can you write the numbers? Think about it for a moment and see which one are for support. The numbers. 4, 3, yes. All right, 2. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Thank you very much. So step-by-step frames, a chunk it that can help. Models, they give examples like I did before. Word banks, they give a list where they can choose from. Visual cues and pictures that can help them. Extra questions, it depends on how you use it. Yeah, it can be a challenge if you make it more of a task load, if you upgrade it, you ask more thinking questions. Look at the next slide now here. Again, the same. Which ones do you think are for support? Add opinions, summarize, question prompts, sentence starters, compare, contrast ideas. Support. We are talking about support, no challenge. Yes, okay. All right. Oh, nice. So, question prompts. That means you give more questions in order to make them in. It means just approach the task. Sentence starters, we can start a sentence and they can complete. But comparing and contrasting, this is a higher level. This is a challenge. They can ask their friend or their peer, they can get the answer. And when they want to report to the whole class, they can compare and contrast their ideas. This is more challenging. Opinions and justifications, again, this is more of a task load. Summarize partners' ideas. This is more of a challenge. Yeah. Thank you very much. So question prompts and sentence starters can be a very good support for those who are struggling. Thank you. Now let's move on and just see. Now let's train ourselves on this and check if we really get this idea of support and challenge. How can we work it out? Suppose you give this task to your students. Write an email to your EPAL about your last week. Ah, that's a writing task now. It's not speaking like we had. We're switching to writing to see if we can really transfer what we have learned to writing. Now the question is, can you type one idea, one support that can help your students speak and writing, especially those who are struggling? Useful expressions. Yeah, maybe like informal and this formal. A model, a frame. Wow, thank you for your ideas. Sample to work on, to deconstruct, why not? Outline. Yeah, sample, key points. You see? So many ideas you can use to support. Thank you very much for your responses. Now let's just see what can happen for challenge. Again, for those high flyers you might have in your class. So what can happen? What what would you add for them as a challenge? Mhm. So maybe some of you are still talking about the support and we are moving to challenge. Thank you very much. Yes. Prompts, yeah. Give opinions, all right? There's personal concerns. Prove why. That means justify, say, yeah. Okay. Particular topic. You give them a particular topic about last weekend. You make it means you make it more focused and more constrained so that they can get all the language they have. Yeah, okay. Peer check-in. That means they can help someone around. All right. They can also compare maybe their weekend with their friends or the same, their last weekend with another weekend they had. Yeah. Or they can ask questions at the end, maybe of their email. They can ask the EPAL about questions that you want. Yeah, complex structures, ask for opinion. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Very nice. Very nice. Now, there is only one bit, a little bit of concern is that students are very sensitive and sometimes they don't want to be called weak or strong or, hey, you are weak, here is support for you, and you are strong, here is, yeah, this is a little bit intimidating and this can just lower their self-esteem. So, what do you think of this? Look at this. Which option you would not use in your classroom? Which one? A or B? Of course, of course. Of course, B. Yeah, of course, B. Because here, A, Here are two options, support and challenge. Choose the one that helps you speak better today. That means I'm not stigmatizing you as weak, but you choose whatever you want. You may be a strong student, but today you don't feel well. You just want to go for support, and that's fine for me today. But what is important is that you are included. You are doing the task and you are in. But saying support is for weak, you guys, you are weak and you are strong, yeah. So that's good to avoid. Thank you very much for your responses. Now, you can also design a bilingual poster. For example, in Morocco here, in our context, you can have English and Arabic, and then we can display it on the wall, and it's going to be part of a routine of your classroom. Whenever you mention support and challenge, you just show where the poster is, and people would know that you want them at least to take part, and they have choice to go for whatever option that can make them today more, that means more engaged in the lesson. Yeah, okay. And so now we are at a level where we have covered language gaps. And we suggested, as I say again, that's not a magical, that means strategy, but please try it out and you will see wonders. Support and challenge can work well for language proficiency differences. Now, our next challenge is learning pace, fast finishers and slow processors. Let's look at this scenario. Mr. Barakat is a teacher. He gives his students 5 statements and then he says, read the 5 statements below. It means 5 statements, for example, controversial statements like all students must or should wear uniforms. You know, these types of statements, students can agree and disagree. Decide if you agree or disagree and why, and you have 3 minutes to do all 5. Okay, so my question now here is, how might this look in your classroom for slow processors? Overwhelming. Yes, okay, for some it's intimidating. For some, like Mustafa, it's fine. Too much work, hard, very challenging. Yes, okay. Mhm. They need extra time. They can get stuck. It's hard for them. And yeah, okay, have 5 statements. But again, always think about those who are strong enough and who are more confident. Maybe they can do it in 3 minutes. So there is an issue here. How could the task be adjusted? Thank you very much for your responses. Now let's look at a solution. How could the task be adjusted to allow more processing time without slowing down faster students? What can we do? Group work? Move one by one. Group work, doing group activities. Give short, maybe. Make it short, yes, okay. Very nice. If you finish, think of more sentences. Yeah, very nice. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, these are nice, excellent responses that I'm having here on Zoom, at least on Facebook and YouTube here. I'm not having access. So look at this. Now, our second strategy today is called, thank you very much for your responses. Our second strategy, if you look on the screen, is open-ended task. Mr. Barakat gives 5 statements and says, read the 5 statements below, choose at least 2. Decide if you agree or disagree and why. You have 3 minutes. What do you think of this? Does it make any difference? Ah. All right. Better. So yeah, that can look better. They can look better. Choose at least 2. That's the magical expression we have added here. There is choice. There is flexibility. There is more differentiation, as you see. Pace. The ones who are slow processors can go for 2 and they meet your expectation. But the ones who can go, they can go for 5. Some can go for 3. Some can go for 4. Some can go for 5. And some, as you mentioned, can even add more. But at least it's more inclusive and everyone can find themselves a space or have access to the task and will not get left out. Thank you very much. Let's practice again. It's over to you now this time. The teacher says, memorize these 4 proverbs. Be ready to share them in 3 minutes. Rewrite this instruction so it becomes self-paced for students. I just go to the keywords. You don't have to rewrite everything. So what do we need to add here? It's just a practice now of the open-ended task. Choose 2, at least 2. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, okay. Choose 1 proverb and be ready to share it in 3 minutes. Okay, that means here they can at least learn 1 proverb. If your intention is for proverbs, provide 8, okay, or 10, and again they have choice and they can go for what you want them to have to learn today. Thank you very much. You got it. Now, about reading, because we are a little bit trying to cover everything here today. Speaking, reading, grammar. Okay. Now, reading text. Suppose there's a reading text and you have questions like these about healthy habits, and you have 6 questions, and then the teacher is asking students, okay, here you have 5 minutes to read and answer these questions. We usually see this. We usually do this as teachers. Okay, I used to do this as well when I was a teacher. But then I realized that it does not work because some will just struggle. So what would you do here in this reading? What would you say? Ah, yeah. Put them in groups. Right, 3 false questions. Each question per group. Yeah. Yes. Okay, it means you have 2 questions for a group or 1 question for every group. But again, the more confident ones will finish their own question with their group and they will get bored again. It's good again to go back to our strategy bag and get the at least is all. Is that it solves problems. At least 2 questions or at least 3 questions, and they have choice. And the stronger ones would go for number 6, where you have, do you think, where they have more personalization, they can talk about themselves and they can interact with the text and so on and so forth. So here, if you say, choose 2 questions, at least 2 questions and answer them. Read and choose at least 2 questions, and they can pick number 2, number 5, or number 1. And you see, it's flexible. You give more flexibility, more options to students. It's not that one size fits all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, language gaps, support and challenge. Learning pace, fast, slow, open-ended task with magical expression, at least. Now the last one, confidence and participation. And this is a challenge most of us are struggling with, because some students just want to participate, but we put more pressure on them and maybe they cannot. Let me have a scenario with you. Is that okay? Let's try a quick activity here and imagine yourselves as students, and I'm asking you this question, and please answer quickly. What is the most important change needed in the world tourism industry and why? Please be quick. Thank you very much. We need quick answers. All right. So, All right. Thank you very much. It was just a simulation and you are not entitled to give me ideas. But that's scenario 1. Remember how it went. I say, please be quick. I need answers. And I was putting much pressure on you. But look back now. I'm moving now to scenario number 2. Is that okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. We are moving. Now, scenario number 2. What is the most important change needed in the world tourism industry and why? Think for a minute. Then ask students, think for a minute. They think, they process. Turn to the person next to you and share your ideas. And they share their ideas. Share with the whole class. You see, what happens here is sometimes that means, unfortunately, what we do as teachers is we try to have more pressure on students and we say, okay, good morning, everyone. Today we're going to talk, and then you have a question. You stand up there in the front of class, and then you throw a question. You say, come on, what's the problem today? Why don't you want to participate? And then only the strong students participate, and only the strong students raise their hands and take part. But the slower ones need more time. They need more time. That's why now my question here is, in which scenario can learners be more confident to speak? Scenario 1 or 2? Of course. Yeah, of course. Of course, yeah. Type a reason. Please, it's number 2, where you ask them to think for a moment and then share with the person next to them and then share with the whole class. It's a think pair share, yeah, strategy. So what do you have a reason? It's easy. They feel safe, yeah. They have thinking time. Thank you. Yeah. Less burden. They can process. All right. Very nice. Some of you say think per share does not work. Even if for the shy, allow them to share in very smaller or in smaller groups, like in 4. Say you finish, turn to the person behind you or to the pair behind you and share, and you are 4 people. And here they will gain more confidence and you are giving them gradual confidence. Thank you very much. So, language gap support challenge, learning pace, open-ended task, confidence, think per share. One last thing I want to talk about in this think per share is that please move from asking to tasking. This is something I have recently coined, and I'm telling teachers, I'm sharing with teachers, from asking to tasking. Turn every question you want to give in class, and you know that only the strong students are going to respond, turn it into a task where they can have a little time to think and they can share, even if they use their mother tongue, their L1, it's no problem, but they will learn from their peer. They will get more ideas and confidence. And please, when you want them to share with the whole class, favor the weak ones. Because you know, now they have something to share. Although they have just learned it from someone next to them, but it's good. You give them more confidence and they can share it with the whole class. And here, you know, success leads to motivation because most of us think that motivation leads to success, but also being successful can, even one time in class and taking part and saying something to the teacher and contributing to the community of the classroom can make you more motivated. And please upgrade. That means try to help people who are moving from support to challenge, not always to remain in support, but try to give them a hand gradually to move from support to go more and discover what challenge can offer. Key messages from today's webinar: classroom differences are very normal. So please don't worry about this. Don't say my students, some can do this and some can't, right? Make tasks and pacing flexible to include all learners. So have this perspective of having a task, one task, not to prepare 25 tasks if you have 25 students, but the same task that it can work for different learners. Plan for support and challenge and choice in every lesson. That means make it a tradition in your preparation, in your lesson planning, that you embed, that you include support and challenge in every, that means in every task or in every lesson. Pitfalls to avoid. Please, as teachers, we don't need to teach to the middle because again, this is going to make accumulated difficulties for most students who are struggling. and this is going to make those who are strong enough or more confident feel bored. We don't need again to over support, but gradually we need to encourage our students to move from the phase of support to challenge. And again, we do not need again to say you are weak, so please work with the weak, you are strong. They don't even need what we have in our intention as teachers, as professionals, sometimes flexible grouping or same level group, but they don't even know what we are intending, why we go for such choice. We need to know this as professionals, but they don't need. Next week, what idea from today's webinar will you try? Please don't tell me you are not going to try anything. 3 strategies. Think, pair, share, open-ended, support and challenge. Which are you going to start with? Aha, flexible task. Wonderful, thank you. Thank you. Asking to tasking, I love this. I've just coined this actually here. Yeah, asking to tasking, because they see we should not ask, we should give tasks. This can make it more learner-centered, support and challenge. Wow. Okay, asking to tasking, what has become now a trademark? Open-ended questions, yes. At least, yes. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Read more deeply, professional development pathway, teachingenglish.org, ample opportunities there. Some references that you will see in the recordings. I can just say thank you for listening. It was a pleasure learning together. Joe?
Okay, thank you, Omar.
Yeah,
Thank you
okay.
so much. I was like busy making notes from your webinar myself because I just found it so super useful, and I loved asking to tasking. That's great.
All right, thank you. Thank you. This is
Yeah,
encouraging. Thank you.
yeah, brilliant. And I really loved, the support and challenge too. So I've just made lots of notes myself for my, my next classes. But I've got questions which have come in from some of our viewers on Facebook, as well as some of our viewers on Zoom. So are you ready to go to the first one, Omar?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, let's go. Okay, so Lydia in Facebook had an interesting situation that she'd like your advice on. So she says, at the end of our last school module, I designed 2 different sets of questions for the sake of differentiation. And some of my students said I'd insulted them because they didn't receive the same set of questions. So,
Mhm.
what can I do differently? So, I guess some of her students felt offended in some way. What would you say to Lydia there?
Oh, yeah. So I understand. I hear you saying, so you're talking about assessment. Maybe she's talking about assessment. Is that right?
That Lydia, if you
Because she say,
if you'd like
yeah,
to give
because she
us
says,
some more details, let us
yeah,
know in Facebook. Yeah, maybe at the
yeah,
end of the module. Yeah, it could be an end of
yeah,
module
that's
assessment.
kind of
Exactly.
assessment.
What
Yeah.
else what could I do differently for the end of module? Yeah, exactly.
Very, very important. Wow, that's an excellent question because we are teaching, we are differentiating, and then we get to a certain phase where we have assess to assess. And then, shall we differentiate again? Yeah. I would say assessment, there are 2 types of assessment. Assessment that is high-stake assessment and standards tests. That means here you cannot change it because it is administrative driven and people want it for other purposes to gauge what learners have. That means learned against some standards and some national and yeah. But here, since it's her classroom, her own classroom, the teacher can still, that means adapt here. Formative assessment, it means here you can give choice. Not exactly different A and B. You guys, you are strong, so see here, around here on the right, I'm challenging you with a strong or a very difficult quiz or test. And you are in the middle. Yeah, that's a little, it's going to be more. And even parents here will complain because they would think that that's not fair. what we call here assessment fairness. So I would really go for having a kind of choice in the same test, but you give different choice, multiple choices. It means you choose number one, A or B or C, and you go for and you answer the question. Or if it's for oral assessment, if it's for oral assessment, uh, give again multiple options, different ways of students to show, to demonstrate their learning. Instead of having public speaking or having a speech, not everybody's good at doing that. But you can say, prepare a video, a poster, maybe have a play or a role play that you see here. So you are giving as more, you give more options. Students feel more confident and they feel that they are okay. Because at the end of the day, assessment is just to get the washback effect and to see if what you are doing is okay or not, and if you reach your own objectives. I hope that I have given some ideas that can work well with.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Omar. I think, yeah, what I take from it is like choice and giving options.
Yeah.
That can be really important. Okay. So if we could just come back towards the beginning of your presentation, a few people
Mhm.
have questions about you spoke about questions input hypothesis, about,
Mhm.
I plus one. And there were a
Yeah.
couple of questions from Kerry Jasildo on Zoom, again, Lydia in Facebook, would like to know, how can we practically measure a learner's current level to ensure that we hit that perfect I plus one zone? And Lydia says, is this an individual I or a whole class I? Can you
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
expand a
Yeah.
little bit? Yeah,
That's
it's a
again,
big
yeah.
question, actually,
Yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
again a
Yeah.
big question because there are things that go beyond teachers that are institutional, that are that means school can address some issues beyond the classroom. For example, diagnostic tests. They don't know exactly your context, but there should be some that means identifying where our learners are. So in your class, the first encounter, maybe you have a diagnostic test. And then this tool is a kind of assessment to see where your learners are comparing with what you are preparing them to learn. Here, when you analyze the results and that data that you get from your learners through that diagnostic test, you will know who is in your class, who is there. Are your students just beyond the what you are intending to teach them, or they are very far and they have accumulated language gaps that you need to go back and revisit and consider in your planning before you meet their expectations. So you see, there are so many things here that a teacher can do. Just observing students and observing them while you are having your lesson, you can classify them as, hey, this can do better in speaking, but they are struggling in writing. This one has a lot to share, but they are less confident, they are shy. So here you see, also the administrative records can help if you go to the administration and ask for the history of the student, and you can find out a little bit about their history, what they are doing well or what they are not doing well. Now, when we have all this information in mind, I think you can intervene because with I plus one, it means that as a teacher, when my students get into the classroom at 2 o'clock and they are supposed to leave the classroom at 3 o'clock, for example, 1 hour, what they have is the plus one before they leave the room. They should not leave the room as they got in. If so, I've been wasting their time. So they should at least live with an added knowledge, added skills, added values sometimes. Because it's not even knowledge or skills. We're talking about language proficiency here. More language, more vocabulary, a grammar, something that they can use as they get out of the room and they can meet tourists if they are in a foreign language and a foreign country, and they can talk and they can use that English they have, for example, hobbies or what they do in their free time or whatever. So you see, that means here +1 means the challenge. We should, as teachers, be very careful about the challenge. It should not, what we add to their level, it should not be too challenging. It should not be, again, just a challenge. As they say, the question was about how can I know the I? How can I know the I? So all this process, observing, diagnostic test, administration, and all these things here, you gather data. And the first month, I think you will know more about your students. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Omar. That was a very complete answer. And you even answered another question, I think, in there. There was a question from Halima saying, what is I+1? So you've answered that exactly too.
Yeah.
It's just that additional thing that what did the students come out of the
Yeah.
classroom
Yes.
that they didn't have when they came in? Okay, I think we've just got room, just time for a few more. Question from Svetlana in Zoom, who says, learners with, you haven't, maybe this wasn't really part of your presentation, but perhaps you've got something to add on it. Learners with dyslexia may struggle more with the language. What would you suggest? Have you got
Yeah,
anything
okay, so this
to add there?
STEM issue, that means these special education needs and disabilities, I think this needs specific training. I don't know what educational systems are doing in other countries, but in Morocco here, we train teachers and we also have what we call adaptive tests for these students. That means they don't have the same test, the same exam, but it is adapted. Usually it is a multiple choice, and usually they have someone who can help. It means who can be there if they cannot write, and they can write for them. So it's a, as I say here, it's a school intervention, but it depends here on the disability. If it's the this issue here of maybe we can go for reading. Why not? It means instead of writing, saying something, we can go for having the response written down by the student instead of intimidating them, because we know that they have this problem of, yeah, the flow of speech. And so it's good that they can just write it down and show it maybe. Yeah, but personally, I would go for more specific training for these types of needs. Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
great answer. Okay, just maybe time for one more that I've seen a couple of people have been wondering about. So, what can we do if you've talked about having different options, different questions, and students
Mhm.
can choose, they have options, they can choose which ones to answer. What do we
Mhm.
do when the students just answer the easy questions? How can we ensure that they try the challenging ones as well? Um,
Okay. Very good
Especially,
question.
yeah, somebody said, Lydia saying,
Yeah.
because in my context, having a good grade is seen
Yeah.
as more important than the learning acquired.
Yes.
What do
Very
we
good
do there?
question. So I'm not talking about assessment. I'm talking about teaching. That means when you give, for example, reading 6 questions and you say, choose at least two to answer. So look at the two situations. What if they are struggling and to finish, and then others, and you say, if you give only 2 questions and the others who are challenged or who are strong finish before time and they start wondering because they don't have anything to do, and those who are slow, you give that little time for 2 questions and they will struggle with the first one and they haven't finished it yet. So you'll have more noise coming up from different students and more frustration from those who are still struggling with the first question. But when you make it longer and larger, like 6 questions here, it does not mean that you want everybody to answer them. They can go for easiest one, but at least you are giving access. Are you giving access or not? You are giving access. They are not left behind. And they feel like they are included. I'm worth today. I'm worthy. I'm doing something. I'm answering the questions. But gradually, in the back of your mind, have that students encouraging them a little bit to go over, as they say, from support to challenge. little by little, gradually. This time, 2 questions, but maybe next time you can find them that they have accomplished the 2 questions, but they are moving forward to the third. And please praise effort. Because what we need is not only those who are strong, we need to praise effort. Give good encouragement and say, wow, today you did well. You did it. Please, everybody give a big hand to him. He did it. Yeah, and then, yeah, this way we will scale up their performance bit by bit. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah, super important. Yeah, great advice. Omar, it's been lovely listening to you and just so useful, so informative, but we've run out of time, unfortunately. But if you would like to hear more from Omar, you're going to be back, aren't you, on the 22nd of May, along with Leo. I think maybe we have the information we can show you on screen in a moment with the exact time. So that's going to be on the 22nd of May at 1 UK time for a Facebook Live Q&A. So join us again then. But in the meantime, I'd just like to say thanks again to you, Omar, for today's session. And also thank you to Kath, who's been moderating on Zoom, and to Naomi, who has been moderating on Facebook. And yeah, there we go. Another reminder of the Q&A taking place on the 22nd of May at 1 p.m. UK time. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating in today's webinar. Thank you very much, Omar. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Goodbye.